Let's talk about tablets. This is a tablet computer. It's a thin mobile device. We operate it by tapping on the touch screen to do what we need here. I think everyone who's watching this video is pretty familiar with how to operate one of these. So let's get into the details of these. Now, these generally measure between 6 and 10 or 11 inches, and that's measured diagonally by the screen size, by the display size. You can use these for simple tasks such as reading books or browsing the internet, but you can use them for more complex tasks as well. If you have a more powerful tablet, you can do more than that. You can go and do recording, editing, photo editing, even programming. But you have to make sure you match the tablet with what you need, the specs of the tablet with what you need for your applications. And the main reason that I have this is an Apple iPad. The main reason I have this is so I can use it as a control surface for my wireless recording for video. All my cameras are hooked up to a hub that's over here, and it's a wireless hub, and this program actually controls that. It's all done wirelessly. And so, that's the main purpose for this. So you need a good amount of power on the tablet in order to run this program and control that wireless hub. So you got to use the right tool for what you need. Okay, so I mentioned these screens, they're usually 6 to say 11 inches diagonal. And this particular one is a 9.7 inch display. This is an Apple iPad 2017 model. It's LED backlit, so it's using diodes, and it's a multi-touch display. So that means that we can tap with one finger, and we can use multiple fingers to swipe and to move to other apps, to close apps with the 5-finger swipe, and so on. And these are capacitive touch screens. Again, they can respond to one or more fingers, but also they can respond to specialized stylus devices. Now, these are usually proprietary. So if you're using an iPad, you'd need an Apple Pencil, special stylus that you can use. This one is a Samsung stylus, so this one's not going to work, but it will work on Samsung devices. Right? So you could use specific stylus or styli for these multi-touch screens as well. And this particular one uses IPS, in-plane switching, so we can have a wider viewing angle. And in fact, you can see here, we can go pretty wide, and you can still see everything on the screen very well. So that's IPS. And this one is a quad extended graphics array, QXGA, and it has a resolution of 2048 across by 1536 up and down. And that's a 4:3 aspect ratio. And you may say, well, 4:3 aspect ratio, that sounds kind of old school, like CRT monitors, but that's what iPads and a lot of tablets use. And you may say, well, most laptops that I see are 16:9, and PCs are 16:9 or 16:10. And why is that? Well, with the 4:3 aspect ratio, you get a little bit more space, a little bit more height. So if you have an on-screen keyboard that pops up, you'll only lose about this much up to here, and you'll still be able to see up here. And that works a little bit better than having a wider screen, like a 16:9. So quite often you'll see that. Plus, it kind of works for handling the device as well. Now, this one has a 1.85 gigahertz CPU. And there's two main goals for these tablets. The first is to be highly portable. You want to be able to move it around and do what you need to with it. Long battery power, portable, but then also you want to have powerful processing capabilities. But it's such a small device. In order to accomplish this, what we use is a system on a chip, or SoC. What that does is it combines the CPU, RAM, storage, and more. Like it's an entire system on a single substrate. Essentially a system unto itself. And the CPU that's used is ARM-based. ARM. And that's a type of reduced instruction set computing, RISC. And the idea is an ARM-based CPU uses less transistors than a CPU you would find in a PC or a laptop. And that uses less space, it's lower power consumption, but still you get a lot of processing power. So the ARM-based CPU, system on a chip, is very common for mobile devices like tablets and smartphones. Built into that system on a chip, you'll have DDR RAM. In this case, this one has 2 gigabytes of LP DDR4 RAM. Smaller form factor than any other DDR you'll find in a PC or SODIMMs that you'll find in a laptop. Quite often with tablets, you'll have beyond the memory, beyond the RAM, which is usually 2 gig, 4 gig, 6 gig, currently as of the recording of this video, you'll also have long-term storage, permanent storage, between, say, 32 and 256 gigabytes. And that's flash memory, similar to a USB flash drive. This one has 128 gigabytes. Okay. These also come with a long life battery. And all these devices today use lithium-ion polymer batteries, Li-ion polymer batteries. And so it's similar to the lithium-ion batteries in laptops, but these could be made into any shape. So you can shape it to what you need for this device. This particular one is 8,827 milliamp hours, otherwise known as 32.4 watt hours. And what that effectively means is you can work on it typically for about 10 hours on a full charge. And then you have cameras. You have some built-in cameras here. And here we have one on the back. That's the more powerful camera. This is an 8 megapixel camera, so you can take very large pictures. And you can record at 1080p. That's 1920 by 1080 resolution video recording. And then these usually have a second camera on the front here. And that's used for doing things like FaceTime or Skype or what have you, communicating with people. And so that camera is a 1.2 megapixel camera, so much smaller pictures, and it does 720p video. That's 1080 by 720 resolution. Still high def, but the lowest version of high def that's available to you. Right? So there's some of the details of this device. And again, there are different types of tablets. Okay, here we have an Amazon Fire, and this is a kid's Fire. And it's a pretty nice device. It's really good for reading books or for doing basic apps and things like that. But this would never be able to handle the video recording that I need to do. It doesn't have a powerful enough processor. It's not meant to do that type of stuff. It's a much more inexpensive device. And so this is good for kids. It's good for adults who just want to read or browse the web. But if you want to, get into something where you've got real power, you're going to need something more powerful, right? And like I was saying, I'm using this wireless hub to record what we have here, record my various video devices, and switch between different screens. And so you need something like an iPad. In fact, it's proprietary for this program. Got to use an iPad. But, you might want to work with something else as well. For example, if you need something powerful that's Android-based, you might go with something by Samsung. And kind of bridging the gap between laptops and tablets, you have the Surface, the Microsoft Surface, which of course will run Windows. But, those are touch screens. They come with a keyboard. So it's a laptop, it's a tablet, who knows? You can call it whatever you want, really. And sometimes they'll even call it both. They'll call it a Surface, they'll call it a laptop, sometimes they'll call it a tablet. Because it all depends on how you're using it. Are you using that keyboard, or you just have it flat in tablet mode? Right, so the whole idea here, again, is that you want to use the right device. And depending on what type of device you use, you're going to have a different connector for charging and for synchronization of data. This iPad uses a Lightning connector, and that's an example of that. Again, for charging, and you could probably hear that. Now it's charging, and it's also for synchronization of data. This one uses a USB connection, and that is a micro USB, which we'll show again, and we've shown before. But you might have a device also that uses USB-C. All right, and so here's a quick view of both of those. On the right, we have the micro USB, and on the left, we have the USB-C. So you want to know the differences between all those: micro USB, USB-C, and also the Lightning connector that you'll find on iPads and other Apple devices. So make sure that you understand the various hardware specifications for a device, how to read these, and how to understand what it is that they're talking about and what all these specs mean for these different devices. And always remember to select the right tool for the job at hand, for the task at hand. Whether you're just browsing the web and reading books, or doing some content creation and video editing and audio editing and things like that. And keep in mind also, you might have some people that will refer to a device like this as a tablet because it's thin and you can read things on it, but really this is just an e-reader. And, what we have here is just black and white. It's just meant for reading books. So it's really not considered a tablet by technicians and by companies. It's considered an electronic reader or e-reader. And here we have the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, if that excites you. So a different device, though. You want to definitely differentiate between those and tablets. All right. So a little bit about tablets, and take a look at some of the latest tablets that are out there today. Take a look at Apple, Samsung, Microsoft Surface, some of the Kindle devices. Look at all the manufacturers out there and see what they have to offer, and take a look at the specs of those devices, and make sure that you can understand the different specifications, like the CPU, like the RAM, the flash memory, the battery, and the display technology, as well as the cameras.